Leave it to our best friend on BPM Sports Talk Radio, Mathias Brunet, to have himself the gnarly trade ideas that always seem to be going viral on Montreal Canadiens social media discourse. Last time we made a video about a Brunet trade proposal, it was in the context of the Mitch Marner for 5th overall trade idea that he had talked about 3 days ago. There also was the Cole Caulfield for the Utah 6th overall pick that was going viral. We didn't make a video about that because, even I have boundaries sometimes. But today we are talking about yet another one of these Mathias Brunet BPM Sports Talk Radio trade ideas, this time involving the New Jersey Devils. Because if you go over to the latest scoop on the Devils, this has been a pretty big deal because it's been noted that the New Jersey Devils have been open with trading their 10th overall pick. However, they kind of want a goalie for it. This article on the Hockey News was published by Julien Gaudio from yesterday, and it goes over the latest as to what Tom Fitzgerald said on NHL.com. If we feel it helps us now in the foreseeable future, then yes, I am listening to offers on that 10th overall pick. I haven't gotten anything yet, but the more I talk to teams, I say, listen, I'm open to moving number 10, but it's going to have to be for something significant. That something significant is likely a goalie. This article concludes, I'm in the goalie market talking to teams, but there's a but, and the but is how do we want to build our team, Fitzgerald said. We'd like to add up front. We'd like to add on the back end. So what are those pieces going to cost us? With the goaltending, what's that going to cost us? Does the 10th overall pick get you the type of player that you can add to the group? It's easy to say go and get so-and-so and then you build from there, but there are some guys who have different contracts, so how are those players going to reprice at? There's a lot to it, but yes, the focus is on finding that goalie. Unfortunately, Jake Allen didn't really live up to his side of the bargain, although he was a big upgrade over the goaltenders the Devils had previously. Jacob Markstrom could be in there, Linus Ullmark, we could talk about him, but I wanted to go out there and bring up Mathias Brunet's trade idea that goes out there and discusses this very same 10th overall pick. Take a look at this article from Elias Edmondson on HabsFanatic.com. It goes out there and talks about the Mathias Brunet trade idea. Here is what he went out there and asked. Mike Matheson for the 10th overall pick. Would you consider this if you were Kent Hughes? Brunet seemed interested in making such a trade. If the Devils offer you the 10th overall pick, then yes, I think I lean towards that. Yes. You then had Marc-Olivier Cook say, the journalist explained that it is something to consider because Matheson is performing beyond expectations, and the Canadiens can take advantage of that to maximize the defenseman's value. So, firstly, let's talk about the idea of the Canadiens getting another first-round pick. This would be awesome because they're already at number 5. Getting themselves a guy at 10 would essentially secure themselves whomever it is drops out of the top 10. Because this happens every single year. You always see guys that are projected to being top 10 picks slip out of the top 10 and get taken somewhere towards the 15 overall range. You'll always see teen-ranked guys, maybe even a 20-ranked guy once in a while, sneak into the top 10. It happens every single year, and with this year, the Montreal Canadiens could just be garbage crew. They could be Zach Hyman out in front. They could be just cleaning up the rebounds of guys that just slipped through the cracks and found themselves outside of the top 9 picks. This would be awesome to pair up with the guy the Canadiens take at 5th overall, whomever that's going to be, and if you wanted to bolster up your prospect pool even further, this could be the best way to do it. Obviously, the Canadiens have made really good work in drafting doubles in the first rounds of the past few years. Slafkovsky and Machar, even guys in the second round, Owen Beck looking pretty good. What more if they had yet another top 10 pick? That'd be pretty great, and the quality of talent you could add would be super beneficial long term. This also, of course, aligns with the idea of the Canadiens being in that longer-term time frame, where it's not necessarily guaranteed that they're going to be a cup contender anytime soon, but if they're going to slowly start transitioning towards being competitive with their younger guys, this might be an appropriate move because Mike Matheson, unfortunately, he's a tad older than you would probably hope for if you wanted to talk about the Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Slafkovsky core. Matheson is 30 years old, 6'2", 187, and his contract goes on till 2026 at $4.85 million a year. That 4.875 is really good for a guy who had 62 points in 82 games played this season, but Mathias Brunet's point is that Mike Matheson might actually be kind of punching above his pay grade, how this guy is overperforming. And if you don't foresee Matheson being able to continue producing like this, maybe he is some sort of an expendable asset. Now, the thing is, Matheson has been honestly like the best offensive defenseman the Canadiens have had in a long time. So honestly, it's tough to really come to terms with the idea of sending him away. But if you were to get some significant asset like the 10th overall pick in exchange, for example, I honestly think about it a lot. And you have to start concluding, okay, what's the direction you want your team to go down? Do you sacrifice a potential longer-term sort of dominance, or do you try to capitalize on what you have right now? You could also go through the perspective of saying, hey, Mike Matheson is great, but Lane Hutson needs some reps at that position. Lane Hutson is going to be the team's #1 power play guy for the next few years, so why not give him a little bit of a head start right now? And if he's not ready, if he can't play there, then we'll swap around Caden Gooley once in a while, we'll give the other guys some chances, and that will be the best way to navigate it. There are a lot of different ways you can use your power play. Just having Mike Matheson, who is not necessarily in the same time frame of these guys because he's a bit older, may not make too much sense if you're trying to build this team. Of course, you want to remain competitive, but at the same time, you have to try to maximize development because this team is not supposed to be in the running for the Stanley Cup right now. If you can open up some roster space for Lane Hutson to take over this power play and get yourselves a really good prospect in the process with the 10th overall pick, I'd consider that a pretty good move. But of course, it's a pretty big ask, and it's something that I think a lot of Canadiens fans would hesitate with at first, because the idea of Mike Matheson leaving after putting up the season that he did is pretty noteworthy, I would say. So I want you to let me know your thoughts. If you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, how do you feel about the idea of trading away Matheson for the 10th overall pick? And is this something that you think you consider? Is this something that you think the New Jersey Devils even say yes to? Because at Matheson's core, he is an offensive defenseman. He had put up a 62-point year. You can say that he's overperforming, but you could also say that he is just good enough to play on a power play. Do New Jersey think about this guy as a good enough asset for the 10th overall pick? Or do they say, no, sorry, we're just going to go out there and use our first round pick, 10th overall, to get a goalie instead? Let's say you add Sam Montembeault or something onto this trade, or you give Caden Primo up and you add some other assets the other way. Instead of it being Matheson for 10th, what if it's like Matheson and Montembeault for 10th and 2 other seconds? What are your thoughts on that? If New Jersey is so focused on getting themselves a goalie, then are there flexible options you think that could make this work from Montreal's POV? Furthermore, does New Jersey even think about Mike Matheson? Is he a guy they would want after giving Dougie Hamilton a full season's worth, or off-season's worth, of rest? You want to maybe give him the power play time. Luke Hughes still has more to go through. Maybe he's that #1 guy. If Matheson is on the team, does he take away ice time from Luke? Is a puck-moving, power play quarterbacking, left-handed defenseman really what the New Jersey Devils need at this point? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Mathias Brunet trade idea. But before we end off this video, I wanted to go over just a few extra stuff. Who could the Canadiens take, or who could the Devils take, I guess, if you wanted to discuss that 10th overall selection? Well, if you go over to the draft center right here, the Elite Prospects Consolidated Ranking has the 10th overall guy as Konsta Helenius. Interesting to note, you've got T.J. Ginla and Cole Yzerman each outside the projected top 10. So if the Montreal Canadiens got themselves, let's say, Caden Lindstrom or Ivan Demidov, and a Cole Yzerman or a T.J. Ginla in the draft, that would be fantastic. Just imagine that. If the price to getting an extra prospect like this is Mike Matheson, I take that personally. But you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section as to whether or not you would. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this idea if you're a Devils or a Canadiens fan. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.